Hi everyone. In this tutorial, we will be discussing the implementation in Python of the solution approach that we discussed in the last video. So let's get started. So I've broken down this tutorial in 5 steps that are mentioned here, and so let us start with loading the libraries first, and let us also import the dataset. So here you can see that we've imported the dataset, and I want to take your attention to this column, which is rate. So this is currently in string format and we cannot use it directly. So let us clean it and let's extract the first three characters and convert it to numerical as well. Okay. So once we've extracted the first three characters and we've converted it to numeric, so this is a new column which is rate cleaned, and this we can use to carry out the rest of our analysis. Let us initially answer the data questions that we discussed during the solution implement discussion phase. So we had the first question we had was that which column should we use to identify the areas in Bangalore? And here I have these two columns uh, which were in consideration. So I'll go ahead and I'll use listed in city as this column has a higher hierarchy as compared to location. I'll go ahead and use listed in city. And another question that I had was that which column should I use to identify whether we can physically go and dine at a particular restaurant or not. And here the clear winner is book table, which clearly mentions that okay, can you actually book a table or can you not book a table? So here I'll basically the analysis that we'll do will be for book table equal to yes restaurants only, because the end goal of our promotional activity is to increase the number of booked tables in restaurants, right? So let us also try to understand the understand the data a little bit as well. So I've done here is I've listed down few questions and we so that we build some understanding about the data that we are doing this analysis with. So first let's see that the number of restaurants across all the areas. Okay, so here I can notice that okay, BTM has the highest number of restaurants, which is around 2610, and New BEL Road has the lowest amount of restaurants, which is around 572. And or on an average, like an area might have around close to 1,000 to 1,200 restaurants. Next, let me try to see that what is the average rating across restaurant type, and I've shown that over here that delivery and dine out based restaurants have the lowest ratings and our pubs and bars have the highest rating, and the restaurants associated with drinks and nightlife, they are usually higher rated restaurants. Another thing that I would want to see is plotting the average rating across the number of votes. Okay, so here what I want you to understand is uh, on the left hand side we have the number of votes, and on the x-axis we have our ratings. So the on this top right, we have those restaurants that have been voted a lot of times also, and that are highly rated also. So we sort of want to recommend these restaurants which have a higher number of votes, which means that they are popular and their rating is also high. So this gives me a sort of an understanding as to how my number of votes are distributed across my ratings. Okay, and based on this I can also basically decide that if I plot a horizontal line over here and I need to only consider restaurants that are above that horizontal line, that horizontal line would be our threshold that we were talking about in the previous video. How do I decide that? So let's just see that what percentage of restaurants have more than 1k votes. And I can see that around 8.7% restaurants have like 1k votes, and from a business perspective, also 1k sounds a decent number. That if 1,000 people have voted for your restaurant, it appears decent. Like the result won't be skewed. The second thing I want to check is to select 1,000 as my threshold. Is that if I select 1,000 as my threshold, will every area have at least five restaurants? Because for every area, I need at least five restaurants that I want to recommend. So here, once I put those filters, so I can see that what is the total number of restaurants the area, and then how many restaurants contain more than 1k votes. So after applying these filters, I can see okay, like every area has at least five restaurants, uh, at least five restaurants that have more than 1k votes. So I'll go ahead and select 1K as my threshold. So now I need to filter 5 restaurants from each area that have the highest rating and that have more than 1K votes. So I'll apply that filter of selecting more than 1K votes restaurants, and then I will initially provide a overall rank to my restaurants, like where the lowest rank means the highest rated restaurant. Okay. Uh, the next step that I would do is I would use my rank overall column to create another rank column that would be based across areas. Okay, so I'll create a new column which is area ranking, and here I want the ranks specific to every areas. That, for example, let's say BTM, which are the five. What are the 5 highly rated restaurants of BTM? So how I do that is by using my previous rank overall column and then creating another area rank column and grouping it by my area, which is the listed in city. So once I apply these data manipulation techniques, and I also select those restaurants that have an area ranking of less than 6, which would mean that they are the top 5 ranking restaurants in that particular area. So once I apply these manipulations, as you can see here, for every area like BTM, let's say we have the highest rated restaurants, which have all of these restaurants have more than 1K votes at least. Okay, so here I have got my final list of restaurants, which are around 150 restaurants that I can recommend to Zomato for promotion. Now another question is that how do I assess the impact of these promotions? So to do that, I'll also like to you to take some time and think, okay, how do I go about assessing the impact of these promotions? And I'll also show you what I've come up with. So to assess the impact, let's understand this chart. So this would be our final concluding remark, that we have generated a list of 150 restaurants. This is the first, and the second is impact analysis. I want you to understand this graph. Look, the x-axis here is the week, and the y-axis is the number of tables booked. Okay, and what I'm saying here is that I calculate this metric, which is the average number of booked tables, which you can see as the red line, and then we have the actual number of booked tables, which is the blue line, and then we have a promotional week over here. So as you can see, okay, in the promotional week, and this is just for illustration that what it would look like. Obviously, we didn't have the booked tables uh, a column in our data, but if we have to come up with an impact analysis solution, then this is very much what we can go ahead with. So in the promotional week, we can see that 120 tables have been booked, and on an average, the weekly tables booked is 87. So we can directly see that there is a clear 37% jump in the number of tables booked due to a promotion. So that was all for this tutorial, guys. Thank you everyone for watching.